This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemon's build.
It does car-like things. I've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
Hey, it is Lemon's Car Spotting. It is Nick and it is Eric. You guys know the drill, but we're going to change things up a little bit this time because weeks ago we requested more photos of this fine machine from Cool Hand 454, aka Keith, longtime friend of Lemon's. His previous photos did not show the front of this vehicle, and we had high hopes for it, and I don't think that we're disappointed.
Yeah. There's so much happening there.
And for folks that have had their cars already featured on Lemon's Car Spotting, if there are details that we missed or that you'd like to highlight, feel free to go photograph them again. But
I'm turning my screen brightness up so I can appreciate the majesty of this.
Yeah, you really want to get into the cracks and crevices of this thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, somebody's the king of the road. That's all I can say. All right. Yep. Well, let's get into the normal deal. I am picking for Eric Lemon's car build. What do we call that thing?
Lemon's build.
Lemon's build.
Want to see build.
Hashtag Lemon's build. And the hooptiest. Lemon's build, hooptiest. Close your eyes. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Lemon's build. That's what you're doing. I'm doing the hooptiest. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Well, it's an Alfetta or GTV6 or similar. It's prepped for racing. Look, it's got livery. It's got one sporty wheel on it.
Yeah, I mean, this thing's ready to go. I love these cars, by the way. I really want one, which I know I will regret the moment I own one.
Well, so the funny thing is, these were reasonably common when I was growing up, and they sort of disappeared into the 80s car background because, the later ones with the big bumpers, they don't look as cool. And then the earlier ones with the 4-cylinder were all dead by 1983. Right. So they kind of fell off the radar for me, but once I started to experience the Alpha V6 in a Lemons contest, I realized, it's one of the greatest engines of all time. So yeah, if you can get a GTV6 or anything with the V6, I think that's key. For some reason, there's nothing wrong with the Alpha 4-cylinder, sort of in a theoretical sense, right. But for some reason, the combination of the malaise era of when they put that motor into the Alfetta, it doesn't have the same effect. So you want the V6 and you want the, as small bumpers as you can manage. And then you've got yourself a pretty cool car. I don't think that you're totally out of left field with that one.
Yeah. This one is a V6 or was. Doesn't look like there's anything there, but the bulge in the hood, I think.
Oh, that's right.
One.
Yeah, that's the indicator. Yeah, I think you're right. So, a longtime Lemons team out here on the West Coast was running one of these, and the team captain was a big-time Alpha guy. One of the drivers is Bill Arnold, noted BMW mechanic, my own personal BMW mechanic. One of a list of 4 or 5 right. people, and. So they're racing this car. They had problems with the transmissions, the transaxle in this car in the back. And Bill developed this whole technology to mate a Jetrag, BMW, whatever, transmission into the front to mount to the Alpha V6. And then they decided, let's just run a BMW E28 and put the Alpha grill on it. And the conversion was complete. And they have since won a race with that car.
Right.
So that's also a possibility if you want to buy a GTV6, just get a 5 Series. All right. Oh boy. We're in Polski Fiat town? What
yeah, apparently. Wow. This is the Fiat, Polski Fiat 126P, which is a rear engine air cooled, I think.
Probably.
Fiat sold real big in the Eastern Bloc. Obviously, this is Latvia car spotting. So this is apparently in Latvia. And I guess this person is super into them.
Or it's like a rental service. I don't know if this still exists, but I was in Berlin and I didn't do it. And I don't know why I didn't do it, but they have Trabant tours of Berlin.
Oh, man.
And I happened to see them. I assume that it was the staff moving the fleet of cars as opposed to an actual tour, because they were going 10 tenths through the city in these spots. It had all of the indicators of, like, the dudes that work at the go-kart track.
Yeah.
Just going full bore. And so it's like, 8 Trabants just zoomed by on the street, and then wait a minute. And then the last dude was the one Trabant wagon goes by in DFL. Oh, wait for me. My Trabant's not as sporty.
Yeah, that extra, 30 pounds of crushed up cotton, apparently.
What was it? It was like chicken wire, cotton, and glue was the body, something like that.
Basically that, yeah. That's the Trabant, not the Fiat, right, which I think was
the
made
Fiat. I mean, this is full on, Italian / possibly Latvian steel that we're looking at, or Polish.
Yeah. And this must be, I'm going to guess this. Maybe this is the Riga, Latvia version of the Berlin Trabant tours.
Yeah, maybe it is. All right. Pretty cool. Nice find by Latvia Car Spotting. What? Well, Mexican plates. And it is a Renault Fluence.
I mean, so easy to, if you found another one, to just grab 2 more letters out of the badging and have the Fluence, which this one certainly is.
Or you could put on a G-string and get a selfie stick and become the influencer.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So many options.
Possibilities abound. I don't know anything about this car.
I know nothing. I know zero. I'm sure it's shared with something weird that maybe was sold here as a Nissan, but other than that, I have no idea.
It's probably mostly a Sentra if it's got Mexican plates as well. I just assume every car in Mexico is a Sentra.
It's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Be the first in Lemons to bring one.
If you know anything about the Renault Fluence, be sure to jump into the comments.
Oh, this is the car that Jay Lamb calls the Caddy that sucks. Now, so this is a Catera, and it was some kind of Opel, I believe.
Yeah.
And God, I mean, General Motors occasionally, what's the bigger problem with General Motors in a global sense? Is it idea or is it execution? I mean, I think there's evidence to support both. I would say this one falls into the execution category. I forget if this was supposed to be a 3 Series-ish or a 5 Series-ish. They already had the Opel. It's a decent looking car, and on paper there's nothing wrong with it. But then the motors were terrible, and whatever else was wrong with them. I'm sure people on the internet will tell us the 5 common Cadillac Catera problems. Right. But it just and then GM's like, okay, we're never trying that again, or it's like, no, you guys had sort of the right idea, you just didn't do it good. So I don't know.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the CTS was like the outgrowth of this, and it was like Catera Touring Wax sedan or something. There was some variation on this. So the V6 that we've seen in Lemons is the same V6. They just made it look differenter and changed the name because they had this horrible association.
Oh boy. Right. Well, yeah, they were like, well, we can't make it look like the Catera, which ironically was the one thing about the Catera that was done pretty well. And so then it was the super jagged. I saw some parody article at one point where it was like, at the Cadillac CTS press launch, the designer of the front meets the designer of the back for the first time.
Man, I don't remember all of the problems with these. They were automatic only, and it was a crappy automatic.
I'm sure that was a problem.
The motor had all kinds of reliability issues. And then there was, I don't remember if this was built in Germany as an Opel or if they built it here. It doesn't really matter. it was built poorly, but that's General Motors.
Yeah. Well, as we always say, GM of Europe is the GM of Europe.
Yeah.
So.
We have had one of these in Lemons.
Yeah.
And God, I don't remember the whole backstory, but they had something before it. It was like a BMW, something like that. And Phil talked them into, trying to race for an IOE with the Catera, and it took them about 7 races for it to actually finish, but they did get the IOE with it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a loophole. Yeah, it's a 6-cylinder rear-wheel drive sports sedan that will automatically be put in Class C. So it is a loophole in that sense, and it's an IOE contender. So
yeah,
if you want to bring one, there are pros and cons.
Yep.
Okay. An arch car.
Yeah.
Intentional or otherwise.
Yeah.
It's a Taurus. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, this is the... what's crazy about the Taurus is they kept building it. They kept building it way into the 2000s. And I think everybody realizes that. I mean, like 2007, I think they were still making these. 2008. They overlapped with the Ford, whatever it was, 500.
Yeah.
To replace them.
Right.
But they sold them to fleet. So your rental car in 2007 or whatever was a Ford Taurus. So, I mean, it is kind of the quintessential rental car in that, they're everywhere in the junkyards and they're really mediocre.
Well, to be fair, they have those BuzzFeed or whatever car magazine that puts them out like the best-selling car in the year you graduated high school.
Yeah.
And so I graduated high school in 1990, and the Ford Taurus was the best-selling car, and it's kind of hard to imagine because there isn't that much time between then when it was the best-selling car and it was less than 10 years later when it was just completely irrelevant. So I understand why Ford was like, maybe this is just a weird dip. But apparently it wasn't. So I don't know. Yeah,
we did have it was actually a Lemons team that won at NOLA with a Mercedes. Before that, they were racing a bone stock 2006 Taurus with the Vulcan V6, which is the same one that they were putting in the car in the mid 80s.
That motor is okay though in Lemons, I think, right? Haven't you seen that it kind of holds together?
Yeah, it doesn't make enough power to hurt itself, which is kind of there's a whole list of engines that are so under stressed that they're kind of great for endurance racing.
Yeah, I think the transmission is the main issue in a Lemons application. The not powerful enough to hurt itself theory, is that backed up by science? The only reason I bring it up is because the Opel Cadet 1100 that was being raced on the West Coast, I was talking to the team captain Alex, and he's like, oh yeah, man, this thing's got it's got 7-to-1 compression. It's just like there's nothing you can do to kill it. And I'm like, is that true? So I don't know. If you have a low compression, low revving engine that allegedly is not powerful enough to hurt itself, post down in the comments.
Yeah.
But Vulcan V6 for whatever reason seems to be okay. All right, Joe Dirt Town. Oh, it's a Laguna S3. Sweet. Now, what is the deal with this? It's some kind of Monte Carlo special variant.
Yeah, this is late 70s Malaise era when, especially the big three had no idea how to market things when performance was completely off.
Oh yeah, back in the late 70s when they didn't know how to do that. Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. Glad that ended. So they would just do all these weird tape packages, tape stripes and names, and I'm sure the interior was pretty cush in these things. Yeah. It was all about luxury and street cred that they made up, basically. Right. I couldn't tell you anything about what the Laguna is. I think it's a Monte Carlo or a Caprice, early usage of the Caprice
with special front and rear caps on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing is you look at the front bumper where it's, the vertical line where it's slapped on there.
Yeah. The seam. Oh, man.
Yeah. So I'm sure that there were numerous other nose treatments on those. It looks, the more you look at it, the more the license plate holder makes it look very buck-toothed and there's all kinds of bad happening there.
Totally. One of a handful of cars not named after, but share the same name as racetracks that maybe quite don't deliver on the excitement. The Pontiac Le Mans being the one that pops immediately to mind.
And the Pontiac Bonneville while you're at it.
Yeah, indeed.
This looks vaguely like the Grand Am also, like that early Grand Am. I think it might be the same platform, but I don't know that well about
I wonder what the S3 denotes in that context.
It means you paid $3,000 too much money for it.
Yeah. It's 3 times as much as what you should have spent. Oh, Tercel coupe. What was the year of the Tercel? It was like within the last 3 years of Lemons racing where there was like 5 new Tercels that debuted in various regions in Lemons.
Yeah. Boy. There were 5 or 6 of them. You're right.
They are neat looking little cars. The best looking one in Lemons was the one that used to run on the East Coast. I associate it with Thompson, where they did it was a really cool like mini touring car basically out of it. And I think they swapped the motor in that thing because it's a Tercel. The judges aren't going to sweat you too hard. Yeah. And I remember that thing winding up being pretty quick.
I think they did. I think they left the engine stock and they ran like ITBs and did all this kind of whatever to it. It was reasonably quick. They don't weigh anything, so they handle really well. We've had 3 of them. We had 3 of them show up in like a year, and they were all the same color. That like like deep teal, almost blue.
Green. The dark aqua color.
If you've seen a Tercel, you've seen this color at some point. They were all identical. Both just all slow. But great.
There was one out of that whole batch that I remember having a catastrophic failure where they blew a rod out the bottom. But otherwise, I think that they pretty much held together in Lemons. So
another test of not enough power to hurt itself.
Right.
And I think says, go ahead.
Well, Toyota being Toyota, they whatever engine family this is, I assume there were a larger one that got put into a Corolla, a different configured one that got put into an MR2, so on and so forth, something like that. So I would imagine the part swappability isn't too bad.
Yeah, I have no idea. Makes sense though. This is a 98, maybe, according to the
that's
captain.
What it says. Yeah, from
has to be the end of the production run.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed they made these beyond 1994. So here we go.
Yeah. Well, but they were probably sold in Mexico until last year.
Yeah, good point.
So, I don't think we've seen a post from Aaron Car Spotting before. So welcome to Lemons Car Spotting.
Yeah, I like the spoiler too. I'm sure it's doing a lot of hard work.
Pretty sweet. Well, it's not doing less than spoilers on faster cars in some contexts. So
that's a good point.
All right. Oh, baby. The Prowler. This would be another Lemons loophole. If you were to bring a Prowler, we would not dock you any penalty laps.
Yeah. God, I can't.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, to that point, I can't imagine building a roll cage in one of these. I'm sure they are packaged in the worst possible way, but go on.
Well, so the deal with the Prowler, in car guy circles, it's much maligned for, having a V6, being sort of just weird and cartoonish, but it's a production car from an arguably major manufacturer. I mean, nobody else has the guts to do something like this. So I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. And I don't know if they meant to, but they started the whole retro trend with this car. This is the car that started that.
Yeah, I mean, this begat the PT Cruiser, and you can see some of the similarity. Yeah.
The grille is identical, basically. I've never really paid attention to the headlight treatment on that and noticed how weird that is.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, the cycle fenders that turn with the wheels, gigantic wheels. I mean, way cartoonish proportions on that. As a design exercise, every kid in the 90s, I mean, how many concept cars were there that looked like this or was as ridiculous as this? And how many of them made it to production? I mean, it's like 100-to-1 ratio. I mean, every car company had something like, we do this, wild for the year 2000. And Chrysler was like, you know what? We're just going to do it. And they did it with the Viper too, the first generation Viper. So, I give them credit for that.
Yeah. So what is the engine in this? It's the same as they were using in the LH.
Yeah, platform. So it's like a 3.5 V6, which I think they had problems, but they were 200 plus horsepower, which for the time was fine and probably not dissimilar from whatever the 5.2 V8 was putting out around then. I'm sure that was a both availability and packaging decision. Of course, every boomer was like, well, if it ain't a V8, as they drive around in their 165 horsepower C3 Corvette. Right. So I don't know. I'm kind of a Prowler defender, I would say.
I'll allow it. Yeah. Are they steel bodied or is that fiberglass?
I have no idea. Yeah. Fiberglass, probably?
Seems like something they would make out of fiberglass, but I don't know.
So honestly,
also Chrysler, and fiberglass is expensive to make. So
yeah, right, true. Yeah. Chrysler and General Motors for sure have often arrived at the correct decision accidentally because it was also the cheap decision.
Right.
The continuation of the pushrod V8 being an obvious example for General Motors. But anyway, cool Prowler at Walmart. Yeah. Oh man. I went to high school with a kid named Dan Bacon, and he was notable for being next door neighbors with former Warrior Latrell Sprewell, who was famous for choking the coach at the time, DJ what is it, a Villager?
Yeah, it's some up-trimmed Villager. I don't think it's a Nautica, but maybe it's a Nautica.
Yeah.
In any case, look, this one's pretty simple. You just put a roll cage.
Yeah. I was going to say, like if you're one of those teams that really struggles with executing a theme, here you go. Done and done. I wonder if Don Bacon won his race or if it's still to come.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Mercury Villager, by the way, identical platform sharing with the Nissan Quest.
Yes.
It's got the same-ish V6 that was in the Nissan 300ZX.
So. Yep. So, talk about a Class C loophole. 300ZX performance in Class C.
That's right.
And actually, the later ones even had the 3.5, had the VQ. That was post-Villager. But the later Quests, I mean, that's, basically a 350Z. So, all right. Last car for this week. It's a Caravan towing a what?
Some kind of very sketchy looking food truck.
Yeah. Well, the Caravan's cool. It's short body Caravan sitting on them things, as they would say in the South. Yeah. Very sporty.
Putting the tow hitch to work. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, again, solution to Lemon's theme, put a cage in it. Bring this and the Don Bacon Villager, and you've really got yourself a 2-car team.
Yeah, you got the 2-van team, and you can bring the food truck
right.
To feed the paddock
and make friends in the paddock. Indeed.
Yeah, it's got to be like a cotton candy or popcorn deal there. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's got a carnival vibe to it for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then there's a trailer too. So,
well, the front is more of an insane carnival, if you know what I mean. But what do they call that? The dark carnival?
The dark carnival, yeah.
Yeah. Dark carnival followed by actual carnival.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right. That does it. I've got the hooptiest, so I'm going first. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning because this lists the condition-wise, everything was in pretty good shape with the notable exception of this thing, which clearly doesn't have a motor likely because of the height, although it's also high in the back, which, the transmission's in the back. So maybe it's also missing its transmission. Windows down, parked outside, partially parted out, missing its headlights. It is the hooptiest.
Yep. That's a good call. Lemon's build, man. There's a couple on here we haven't ever seen. Obviously the Prowler, loophole there. We'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I think the Fiat Polski, I looked it up, is too small to race in Lemons. They're very small, under the 82.
Yeah, we do have a minimum wheelbase rule so that, you don't get crushed by whatever. A 5 Series.
It's pretty close. But I got to go with the Laguna S3, whatever the hell it actually is.
Yeah.
Man,
definitely.
Look at that. That would look magnificent on a racetrack.
I don't know that you need to do much to the paint on this to make it a Lemons car.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's Bondo or paint that's just come off. I think it's Bondo. But it's got the opera window. Yeah. It's got the double markers on the side. It's got the paint stripe. You got to run the rally wheels.
Yeah, you got to run the wide rally wheels with the raised white letters. If you don't have that, do you even Laguna, bro?
The only thing you might add that would look spectacular on this car is a big Richard Petty Superbird wing on it.
yeah, and a matching front chin spoiler.
Yeah,
to go with.
But other than that, this thing's completely perfect, ready to dominate Class C, and it's in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which seems just about right. So,
Point Pleasant, very pleasant there, I'm sure.
That's right. Home of the Mothman.
Your mission is clear this week. There are many choices, many, as always, incredibly cars that we've never seen in Lemons. So those opportunities are still out there. In the meantime, keep tagging your photos with hashtag Lemons Car Spotting. We'll find it. We'll talk about it and probably make comments that are completely wrong. Man, it really is a time capsule.
An S3 time capsule.